Flower enemies. Weird creatures mixed together. Talking cubes.
Oh, you're different.
You're a cube.
Welcome to the frozen version of God of War, made by Santa Disney Studios. So I reacted to the trailer on Patreon and Subscribestar and simply had to do a video about it to vent a bit. Cause this is some bullshit. Of course, this is an entirely subjective take on the trailer and more of an emotional reaction, which could be totally unjustified if the game ends up incredible in all aspects. Time will tell. I love old God of Wars and I love the new ones. It's one of my favorite gaming franchises. But this? I don't even know where to start. First of all, out of all the new characters from the Norse God of War, why would you pick Laufey to have her own full game? Compared to Odin, Thor, a mature version of Loki, which would be a sick spin-off considering Loki's gameplay options in a form of possible illusion magic and daggers combo. Then we have Heimdall, Baldur, Freya. Literally everyone is more interesting than Laufey, except Angerboda. If anyone tells me they would rather play as Laufey than Thor, then I'm calling you a bullshitter of the highest degree. Thor is one of the best written characters I've seen in modern gaming. His presence on screen was some scary shit. The way he was unstable but still incredibly powerful made him unreliable and a must-watch in almost every scene due to the unpredictability. Alright, they've chosen Laufey. Let's get over that. Maybe she's got some interesting stories to tell. I mean, she died, but was known as a capable warrior, so there is a basis for a good game in terms of gameplay. And Laufey doesn't disappoint in the gameplay department. Gameplay looks awesome. I love God of War Remake combat because it's more grounded, very methodical and highly polished with fantastic hit impact finishers and details. I love old combat too, though I never really liked the aerial part where we are suspended in the air for prolonged periods of time. It did work for older God of Wars due to the camera perspective, but with old Kratos in the new games it would appear more silly and out of line, considering it's a more grounded game overall, more cinematic and more focused on storytelling. It's visible now more with Laufey how the aerial part would play out, and to me it's still silly, but she is more agile than Kratos, so it works better for her than it would for a remake Kratos. That's just my perspective that I'm sure many would disagree with, and that's fine. Combat looks as good as ever. Everything that made combat superb in the first two games is here with the added aerial stuff. So it's more of a mix, it seems, of old and new God of Wars. I think most people will be happy with that. How it plays in the trailer I'm happy with too. But then we have the story of Laufey to get back to. So instead of this being a prequel where they would tell us her story and what she accomplished while fighting the Aesir to protect her people, which would be an interesting thing to do, despite the fact that her being a main character would still baffle me to no end, they have decided to resurrect her and most likely affect the established story somehow in the end, because her resurrection could change things. Fucking hell. Family reunited for ages 8+. What's even worse, she spawns in Afterlife of the Gods, a made-up realm. It's for gods of every mythology. So we're gonna have a jumble of characters that have no connection to one another after already writing two separate mythology-based games where Kratos, an imaginary character, had a big part in it and through whom we got to know many gods, how they operate, their goals, relationship with Kratos, relationship with other gods. Instead, we get Disney All-Stars in a realm that has no mythological base. Already in the first couple of scenes it looked ridiculous, with a red character talking to an Egyptian goddess that then flies away on a four-legged massive creature that doesn't look like it should be flying. But then again it's Disney, so who cares? Minor nitpick about flying. Then the talking cube. Fuck me.
That's why you're trapped.
Yeah. Wait, you made that big explosion happen, right? Could you do that again?
A long-time viewer pointed out that Afterlife of the Gods might be some sort of purgatory for the gods. Might be. But purgatory for the gods that has unfinished business? Every god, mythological or not, has unfinished business, and that's their purpose. And then to participate in the same system that was designed for humans in a form of a purgatory? What's the point to these gods then if they are in the same boat as humans? They should be above humans. who should judge the gods. It would create more questions than answers. It could work, don't get me wrong, but it would be so far-fetched and create a ton of new plot holes and questions. I don't know. This seems to be going in the wrong direction. All the new made-up horseshit is gonna need some serious quality storytelling and backstories to tie it all together. Maybe they can pull it off, but Afterlife of the Gods seems like such a nonsensical move, not to mention the color palette there, which makes it look like a fairy world to me. I'm not saying this is going to be a bad game, seems like gameplay is on point, cinematic storytelling that I adore from the remakes is still here, small details that make the experience more immersive with tons of unique dialogue lines and reactions. I love that. But this Disney bollocks needs to stop, sick of it. Now it's in God of War as well and it's full on. I knew they would fuck something up, not an entire game, but some parts of it. Angerboda was the first big clue that there's some crap coming in the future. I just hope I'm so wrong and they write a hell of a story that makes sense. No matter what, this is a risky move for the studio. Going Disney in an established franchise like this that thrives on the main character and his connections to the gods. First time I'm skeptical about the God of War game.